up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Boston's Banter, where the sports are wicked and the banter is Pissah. I'm your host, Frank the Bank. With me, as always, is Keith LaCava. What's going on, Vincent Van Bro?
Nothing much. Nick Broles, how we doing, Frankie?
I'm doing good. Another exciting week in the NFL and fantasy. We got a lot to talk about. Let's jump into Wicked Pissah News. So we're going to start off like we do every week with some Red Sox update. The Red Sox 2-4 in their last 6 games, going back to our last show, Frankie. It's not looking good, man. No, not looking good at all.
So last 6 games, 2-4. They actually had the series against the Yankees last week where they went 1-3 against them. And 12 games behind them at a record of 75-75. They played tonight, so I don't know, Frankie. They're going to have to do a lot to try to make the wild card. It's not looking good.
No, it's not. It's, that one game they were up late, like 7th inning. Aaron Judge hadn't hit a home run in 16 straight games, which is like a record for him.
He would do it against us.
And, of course, he hits a grand slam, and the Yankees never look back. We lose. It was just unreal, unfortunately. Well, they're doing better than the White Sox.
Exactly.
So the White Sox, with 12 games left, have a chance to tie the modern-day record or worse. So if they go 8-4, they'll be one game under with the worst record. The Mets in 1962 had 120 losses. Right now, they sit at 35 wins and 115 losses. So they have 12 games left. They have to go 8-4, which I don't think they've done that all year.
No.
It's not going to happen. They're going to have either tie or be the worst team in the modern day. I mean, Before 1900, there was a team that lost like 130-something games or something crazy.
Yeah.
It was back in 1899.
Louisville something.
Yeah, it was like a weird name. Then we don't count that. But the modern day record, they're gonna be the worst one, I think. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Moving on to WNBA, Caitlin Clark this week had 2 new records. She's got a ton of records at this point.
Man. Rookie.
It's crazy. So she set the rookie record for points as a rookie, so that was cool. She did it in like a couple games, shorter than the last person that did it. So she's already got the record with games to play. So most points scored as a rookie. And she just set the assist record for any player, not just rookies. So she's got the most assists in a WNBA season. And
Honestly,
she's a rookie.
I kind of expected that, dude. She's good with assisting, man. She facilitates very well.
Oh, it's unreal what she's done this year as a rookie. She's had such a great rookie season. And what do you got for me on some NFL injuries in particular?
Yeah, man. So we got, every week we're talking about this guy, Christian McCaffrey. 1 minute he wasn't playing week 1, then he was missing a few games. Now my guy, Madden Curse, is being placed on IR, and that's officially 4 games right there, but it might be a little longer, they're saying. He's trying to recover from that calf injury and also Achilles tendonitis. 4 games, man. I mean, last year's Offensive Player of the Year starting off like this, Frankie. I mean, the next 4 games at the Rams, versus the Patriots, versus the Cardinals, and at the Seahawks. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, those all look like winnable games, but after this weekend where they look flat against the Vikings,
they look terrible.
Who knows how they're going to look? Seriously,
every guy you're about to talk about is on my team, and including CMC.
Yeah.
I took a screenshot like 3 days before the opener. Shanahan, he's not going to go on IR. What thinking he's going to play week 1. And the whole time Christian McCaffrey was like, yeah, I'm going to play. And then supposedly, I don't know if you saw the interview after week 1, but it was Jordan Mason was interviewed. I watched the interview live.
Yeah.
She said, when did you hear that you were going to start? And he said, on Friday night. But they didn't announce until Monday, like an hour before the game, to the public.
Yeah.
So it was like, I was scrambling to find a backup, but it didn't even matter at that point. It's just, I thought that was very odd.
Yeah, that makes a good point right there, Frankie, because at the same time, like, if he found out Friday and they knew he wasn't going to be playing, it's like, why not put that out in the news for guys? I mean, I know they don't care about fantasy football players, but come on, man.
Fantasy football, betting, I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of money outside of, what these players are making and how.
Right.
And I understand the coach's dilemma, because it's like, we don't want to tell the other team that our best players out because they want to have them game plan for the wrong person.
Absolutely.
And I understand that, but there is a lot of money outside of that.
When you think about the betting. Days, dude. Like Friday, they knew.
They knew Friday, but it was a Monday night game. That's crazy.
Right.
That's what Jordan. I don't know if Jordan Mason was not supposed to say that, but I watched it live, and she was like, "Oh, when'd you find out?" And he was like,
Friday.
Friday night. And
why y'all surprised?
He was acting like he didn't know what to say, like a deer in headlights almost.
Yeah, that's fine. I did see pieces of that interview. But yeah, very unfortunate. Like we were talking about earlier in the offseason, he was on the cover of Madden, and it's looking like, that curse is thriving, unfortunately.
Yeah, a couple other injuries we got. Again, one's on my team in your league, so I have 3 major injuries now in your league. Is Deebo Samuel.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be out multiple
49er,
weeks, so another 49er. That was huge. He's been playing great. He's been averaging like 18 points a game for me. He got injured late in that game.
But let's move over to the 49ers rivals and the Chiefs. They're dealing with a lot of injuries. Let's start with Marquise Brown. So he missed week 1. They were trying to see if at some point during the regular season he could get back to the team. It's not going to happen this year. He's going to be missing the whole regular season. He had shoulder surgery for that sternoclavicular injury he sustained in the preseason.
He's on my team too in your league. Just saying, it might not be the Madden curse. It might just be
the Frank curse,
drafts you curse.
So he signed a 1-year deal worth $7 million in the offseason, you know, and obviously the Chiefs, like I said, they have other weapons. And let's look at another one they have, Isaiah Pacheco, right? You know, good running back. No, he's going to be missing some time too. He's being placed on IR as well. 6 to 8 weeks, they're saying, not just the 4-game minimum. They're saying he could be missing 6 to 8 weeks with a fractured fibula he suffered in the Chiefs' 26-25 win over the Bengals. Now Carson Steele, rookie running back, he's looking to take over some of the workload along with Samaje Perine. But you know who the Chiefs just brought back? Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt.
I mean, he's on the practice squad, but I mean, he's pretty familiar with Andy Reid's offense. I'm sure they're going to get him, you know, going pretty quickly.
Yeah, why not? I mean, they'll see what they have this week, and then if it's not working, then Hunt can step right in pretty quickly.
Absolutely, man. So, you know, that's unfortunate for the Chiefs.
He's on my team also, Pacheco, in my league.
There you
so
go.
So my 2 leagues, we're 3 for 3 so far.
So I'm not going to lie, though. Obviously, you don't want to see these players get injured, but seeing the Chiefs win back-to-back Super Bowls, I'd like to see them struggle a little bit this year.
Yeah, I don't want them to win again.
Yeah, absolutely. And another guy on your team, Frank, Cooper Kupp, is expected to miss an extended amount of time with a ankle injury. Now, this guy was balling week 1, Frank. Would you say 21 targets?
Yeah, 21 targets.
Yeah, and that was
14
with
catches.
That was with Puka hurt and everything. Now, going into before he got injured, a total on the season, he had 27 targets, 18 receptions for 147 yards and a touchdown. Now they lost Puka, they lost Cooper. Man, the Rams, they're hurting too.
They look like they're getting beat up left and right.
I mean,
Big B's on IR.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They're
bro.
a mess right now.
I mean, I thought they were going to look good this year. I mean, obviously it's before the injuries and everything, but they're dropping like flies. Same with the Chiefs, bro.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yes, it is.
And one we hadn't talked about, which it was sad, it's happened before, but it's Tua. The concussion to Tua was unbelievable. I mean, it's like they just talking about putting him on IR. I think they might have did it today.
They did, yeah. I got the update earlier.
They're on IR for at least 4 games, so it's his 3rd major one in the last few seasons here, 3 seasons or so.
Yeah.
He had one major one in 2
years ago
too, and it was
against the Bengals. I remember that year you had him where the season up with the hands and everything. That was scary, man.
No, it was crazy. If you saw the hit, it was a very innocent looking hit. He dove forward
into DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin's not a big guy.
Of all people.
And DeMar Hamlin kind of fell back. DeMar Hamlin didn't even hit the ground.
He didn't want to take the hit too with what he just recently dealt with.
He did not go down to the ground at all. His head kind of hit him in a weird way, but it looked very innocent.
Right. Right.
And then he still had the concussion. I was like, wow, so that's something that, like, if he keeps getting them, and you get them, once you get it more and more, it's easier to get them, they say. So it's like, it seemed like that was a very basic hit for him to have a concussion was beyond me, and for him to actually like start seizing up a little, it seemed like it was a high grade concussion, you know.
It's unfortunate, but again, people trying to speculate what he should do, that's on him. I mean, I agree. I really do think he should step away from the game, but I'm not going to be the one. I mean, we're not in the main media like ESPN and Fox and all that. But he's hearing this, that's probably putting more pressure on him, man, and that's not what he needs right now.
Yeah, no, I hear that. But moving on to another quarterback, you got some other news about a different quarterback.
From injuries to benchings, now the Panthers, what a horrific 0-2 start, and we kind of saw it coming, man. The Panthers have benched quarterback Bryce Young, last year's #1 pick in the NFL draft. Andy Dalton, the veteran, is slated to start. Now, we're going to go over some numbers here real quick. His whole rookie season last year, 2,877 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. That's horrible.
2-14 record.
Now we look at this year so far.
Last year.
31 for 56 for only 245 yards, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He has 1 rushing touchdown. Yeah, they had to make a change, Frankie.
They only scored 13 points in 2 full games. The guy's average air, like under his pass attempt per air yards is like 4.
Gross.
It's like from here to that door.
Absolutely gross.
He's throwing the ball like it's like you could just throw it under him at that point. What's the point?
I really hope he steps it up too, because I do like Bryce Young, and it seems like he is hungry. He's not like a Jamarcus Russell getting blank tapes going home and like, what'd you see?
He was a high prospect.
Right.
They traded up to get him, but they're talking about this being one of the worst trades in history.
Yeah, man, they gave up DJ Moore all those first-round picks.
They, you know what I mean? Like, and then looking what the Texans got from, you know what I mean? It was just like,
finesse, man.
It's unbelievable.
Those first 2 games, losing by 20+, man. Something had to get changed, bro.
I don't know. It's sad. It's a sad. Their whole organization at this point. Is just like,
I have 2 of their players. I have Xavier Legette, who I haven't started, but last week he got 0, no targets, and Deontay Johnson has just looked. I think
Deontay is going to be pretty good this week with Dalton.
I hope so.
He's cheap money on. He's one of the people I'm going to talk about.
I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not starting him.
No, I wouldn't start him yet either. So that's pretty much it for me on the Wicked Pissah news. I'll only jump right into Foxboro Focus.
Foxboro Focus, baby. So before we get into talking about this recent Patriots game, the game against the Seahawks where they lost 23-20 in overtime, unfortunately, we lost linebacker Juwan Bentley for the season with a torn pectoral. And last week, he led our team in tackles, half a sack. He's one of the captains. Yeah, that's a big loss, Frankie, to start the season.
I hate it.
Already lost Judon, Barmore. I mean,
it's just adding up now.
The defense, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I knew last week, they let up over 300 yards to Geno Smith, but the defense is still looking good. But if we keep losing guys like this, man, I mean, how much further can they go?
That's what I mean.
Right.
Like, it's like we have. If the blood clots weren't there for Barmore, and we kept Judon. Judon had a sack last night against Hurts in the Philadelphia game. He looked great.
Right.
But I mean, it's just unbelievable. We lost three top sack guys. It's like kind of crazy.
So, like I was just talking about, the Patriots lost this past week to the Seahawks, 23-20 in overtime, a game I really think they could have won. They just got very complacent, and, they were reserved in their play calling, a lot of runs in that overtime where they could have been more aggressive. Jacoby Brissett, 15 for 27, 149 yards with 1 touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson, again, 21 carries, 81 yards and a touchdown. I mean, let's talk about Antonio Gibson here. 11 carries for 96 yards. Looking efficient as a rusher, bro.
Great.
Yes, he did. And then we have Hunter Henry.
That was the next guy, Hunter
8
Henry.
receptions for 109 yards. They were looking for him. Jacoby was looking for him all day, man.
He's, again, on FanDuel cheap usually every week. You plug and play and hope you get,
Right.
lucky.
Last week, I think he only had 12 receiving yards.
He didn't do much week 1. I know. It's crazy.
And then our rookie, second-round pick, Jalen Polk, 2 receptions for 12 yards, and he got his first career touchdown right in the back of the end zone. That was a dot to him, too, right in the back of the end zone, man. Yep. So we'll move over to the defense. Kyle Duggar, with Juwan Bentley being hurt, we had to have somebody pick up the tackles. He led the team with 8, and he also had a sack.
Yep.
Keon White had a sack and a half. That's bringing his total to 4 on the season.
Keon's a beast.
Averaging 2 sacks a game.
That's our guy.
Dude, let's go, man. So let's get into some Seahawks stats. Geno Smith, 33 for 44, 327 yards, 1 touchdown. Zach Charbonnet with Kenny Walker being out, which that was a last-minute thing, too. I didn't think he was going to be out. 14 carries, 38 yards, and a tutty, and he had 5 catches for 31 yards. DK Metcalf, 10 receptions, 129 yards, and a touchdown.
He went crazy.
And then this guy, Jackson Smith-Njigba, the rookie last year out of Ohio State, 12 receptions for 117 yards. So, some real quick notes from week 2. Patriots held the Seahawks to only 46 rushing yards, 312 passing. So it shows our rush defense is pretty stout, even going back to last week. The Patriots had 185 total rushing yards, only 125 passing. We talked about that. We're going to see the rushing yards significantly higher than the passing. And only 3 penalties for 42 yards from the Patriots to the Seahawks 6 for 50. But the only problem with that was the penalties took away big plays for us and also set the Seahawks up for scoring plays.
Yeah.
So that's something we got to we had 3 of them, but they were for 42 yards. The Seahawks had 6 for 50, 8 more with 3 more penalties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like I said, we talk about this guy every week, Christian Gonzalez. Every week we're talking about this guy shutting down the team's premier wide receiver. And this week he held DK Metcalf to 3 receptions for 24 yards. Like I said, that 56-yard tutty that DK had was Kyle Duggar took responsibility for that.
Yep.
So upcoming week 3, Thursday night, we got the Jets, the only primetime game for the Patriots this year.
Yep.
So let's break down what they did last week. The Jets won 24-17 to the Titans in week 2. Aaron Rodgers, 18 for 30, only 18 completions, 176 yards, 2 touchdowns. Breece Hall, 14 carries, 62 yards, 7 receptions, 52 yards and a touchdown. But rookie Braylon Allen.
Two touchdowns.
Yeah, he had a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown, 33 yards rushing, 23 receiving. And then, top receiver Garrett Wilson, 4 receptions for 57 yards. Going into this game, I noticed some things with the Jets that I think we could really take advantage of, Frankie. To start, actually, one of their defensive ends, Jermaine Johnson, tore his Achilles. Now he's
out for the year.
Out for the year.
I saw that too.
But one guy we got to look out for is Will McDonald. The guy had 3 sacks last week coming off the edge. So whoever's that left tackle, right tackle, better be watching him, man. That's for sure. I mean, we've been moving around linemen a lot. Jets had less pass yards and rush yards versus the Titans and still won. That's insane. And Rodgers, out of those 18 completions he threw, 9 of them went to running backs, Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. The other 9 went to receivers. So he's splitting it up with the running backs and receivers.
Yeah. I mean, they got a good team. They're a pretty complete team. They still look like they're trying to get it together. Titans could have beat them that week, too, honestly.
Yeah.
This week, too.
Well, it was another boneheaded play by Will Levis. You saw Coach yell at him, "What are you doing?"
Screaming at him. So it's like,
oh my God,
the Will Levis experience, they're calling it.
Right, man. Hey, man, all I know is he's a starting quarterback, and some of those uncharacteristic throws he's trying to make, the guy was literally, his legs were up in the air. He flipped it over to Tony Pollard, bro. Like, I mean, what was
after
that?
last week's debacle, you'd think in week 2 you would not do anything even similar to that. He did something just as bad, if not worse.
It was honestly
it's like
worse.
he rolled it over like a bowling ball.
You saw that? His legs were in the air, and he went,
here you go. I was like, what are you doing?
Unreal, Frankie. What are you going to do, though? To predict this game like we always do, Frankie, I know know, during the offseason, I said they were going to lose to the Jets, but you know what? I'm changing my mind. They're going to beat the Jets.
I like it. Hey, I'm still taking the Jets. It's in New York. I don't know. I think the Jets are the more complete team. I always take the more complete team when it comes down to it. So
the way I look at it is the Patriots are a few first downs away from being 2-0.
It's true. I mean, yeah. I mean, every game. If you think about every game, that's how every game goes.
Well, no, I'm talking about they were in overtime driving. They won the coin toss. A few more.
If you flip it around to Cincinnati, if Gesicki,
I'm sick of hearing about that.
Again, you're saying if it's one or two first downs, one or two plays a game is all the difference in the world sometimes.
Right, but then
for
there's
being
also
0-2, 2-0, 1-1.
Right.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens Thursday night, brother.
Yes, sir. Why don't we jump right into Wicked Smaht Fantasy Starts?
Wicked Smaht Fantasy Starts, man. And we're going to get into last week's fantasy matchups we had. I don't really want to get into it, but we got to. So in my league, I lost 163.10 to 148.44, bringing my record to 1-1. Some quick studs and duds. Justin Jefferson got me 25.3, nasty 97-yard touchdown against the 49ers. Nico Collins gave me 27.5, and he's going to be balling all year with C.J. Stroud. That's going to be his main guy.
Yep.
Ramondre Stevenson, the workhorse for the Patriots, got me 17. Now some duds. I was going to bring in Jaden Daniels this discussion with the 13.44, but I don't want to because he didn't have any turnovers or nothing. It was just a rough game against the Giants, all around trying to move the ball. But I'm going to say Jerome Ford, 7.4. It seemed like they were using Deontay Foreman a lot, and I didn't like that.
Foreman a lot, yeah, I thought that too.
Terry McLaurin, where is he? 8.2, 6 receptions, 22 yards.
In the preseason. Right. I have him and I have Jaden Daniels.
So what the hell's going on here, man? And then Josh Palmer, 3.9. Through my 3 flexes, I got a combined 19.5 points.
Yikes.
TJ's flexes, he had DK, Zay Flowers, and JK Dobbins all went off.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's why I lost, essentially. So how'd you look at my league, Frankie? I think
Your
you won.
League, you already know what I did. So, again, I put up the most points again in Keith's league 2 weeks in a row without my number one first round, number one overall pick, CMC. Which
also helps having Alvin Kamara, homie.
Well, yeah, man, that's why. But to not have my number one pick, that's crazy.
That's great,
so
dude.
My team went crazy in your league. I put up over 200 first time that's happened in your league.
Yeah.
I mean, most of my guys were studs. There's a couple duds, but I mean, Hurts got 27, Samuel 18 before he got hurt, Rashee Rice 20, James Cook had 30.5 points. Kamara 46 points for Kamara, and then I got Godwin at 26, and then my couple duds. Dallas' defense got me 1 point after putting up 20 week one. They looked terrible against the Saints.
Weird.
Yeah, that was very strange. And then I had to start somebody in flex because obviously I don't have CMC, one of my extra flexes. So I ended up starting Alexander Madison over Chuba Hubbard, which I should have went with Hubbard, but Madison only got 6 points. And then my tight end is Freiermuth because Njoku's injured on my team. Now Debo's injured on my team. CMC's injured on my team. But I started Freiermuth. He got 8 points. But my team went off in your league, dude. It went off.
So
210 points.
You had a good week there. I mean, you're getting injuries, but you got guys producing like that. You got 4 touchdowns from Kamara, 3 from James Cook. I had James Cook in your league, which let's get into your league, brother. But unfortunately, your boy lost in that league, too.
I lost in my league, too.
159.12 to 154.76. Close game against my cousin Justin, bringing my record, unfortunately, to 0-2. But here's some quick studs. Marvin Harrison Jr. Last week, he was a dud, 1.4. This week, 4 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. I had James Cook, who you were just talking about. He got me 30.5. Miami Fairbairn, 20 points, man. 3 50-plus yard field goals. He did that last week, too. Yep. And then Pittsburgh's D got me 16.5. Honestly, it seemed like my whole team was duds, but I'm just going to bring up the ones that stuck out the most. Anthony Richardson, 9.86. He had 3 interceptions, and he just looked like, I don't even know who that guy was out there. So they had a fraud out there that day. Michael Pittman, again, talking about receivers missing the first 2 weeks of the season. Where's he been? 5.1 points. He hasn't had over 35 yards in his first 2 games. And then DeAndre Swift, I'm kind of getting annoyed with this guy. 14 rushes for 18 yards, 8.2 points.
Their line is terrible.
It's horrible. And then Keon Coleman, 0 points when I thought this dude was going to be utilized more within that Bills offense. So
I started him in my guillotine.
I mean, I was going to bring up Lad McConkey with 4.6, but he's a rookie. I'm going to let him slide. At least he got some numbers up there other than Keon Coleman. So how'd you do in your league, Frankie?
I did terrible in my league
lost.
too. 136 is all I got, which I had the most points last week. So Tony Pollard had 15 points. Godwin had 27 points. What was crazy about Godwin, though, at halftime, he had 7 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown, 27.7 points in my league. He didn't have another catch in the second half, not one.
Why has that been?
Zero
why does that happen
catches.
so much? Look at Marvin Harrison Jr. Same thing.
I know.
Come on,
I don't
man.
understand.
They're balling. Get him the ball more.
Yeah, they must have just changed up the defense. So yeah, I mean, my defense got me 20 points.
Whose defense was that?
I picked up Houston on the waivers.
I had them too in my league.
I have New Orleans too. I have them both, but I was just gonna kind of swap them.
Yeah, by committee, almost see
exactly,
the matchups are.
So yeah, I mean, Tyreek Hill only got 6.5 points, and now Tua's out. So Tyreek looks like he's going to be a bust. Cooper Kupp got hurt. He only got 7 points. Rachaad White, 3 points. Rachaad White, crazy. He got injured for some of the game. He came back in. Sam Laporta hasn't done much in 2 weeks.
No.
3 points for me.
So, I mean, that was our leagues, but let's get into the must-starts for week 3, the starts of the week, I like to call them. So I'm going to start with my first one, and it's Gardner Minshew.
Ooh, I have him on mine.
People weren't really going to expect that, but I got Gardner Minshew versus the Panthers. The Panthers have allowed 728 yards within the first 2 games and have allowed 5 pass touchdowns in those 2 games. So I think Gardner could have a good day against that horrible Panthers defense, especially missing their top pass rusher. Derek Brown's out for the year.
Out for the year.
Number 2, I got running back Brian Robinson. Start him at the Bengals. Last week he had 17 carries, 133 yards versus the Giants. I mean, I know that was the Giants defense, but at the same time, the Bengals have allowed back-to-back weeks where a team's running back has posted 90 or more yards. So that's back-to-back weeks with that. You know, we had Ramondre with 120 and then Isaiah Pacheco with 90. So I'd say he'd be a good start against the Bengals. Number 3, I got running back Ramondre Stevenson at the Jets. The Jets have allowed 310 rush yards so far, and Stevenson already has 51 total touches and 216 total yards with
I
2
love that they're
touchdowns.
getting on the ball. They should.
That's what I'm saying. So I think he has a good night against the Jets. If he doesn't, they're going to be utilizing him a lot. So definitely get him in there. And number 4, I got a twofer. Start either wide receiver Jamar Chase or T. Higgins versus the Commanders. I know Jamar, who knows what's going on with him, and T. Higgins if he's going to be playing this week. But against the Commanders, if they are both playing, start either one of them simply for the fact that the Commanders have allowed 304 total yards to the Giants last week, which was horrendous. I mean, that's the Giants.
That's just crazy.
175 passing. That's 455 total pass yards allowed this season by their horrendous pass defense. 2 straight weeks, the Commanders allowed a team's top receiver to record 8 or more receptions. 2 straight weeks of that.
That was the grossest game I ever watched, I think.
And then at number 5, somebody I'm going to personally be starting this week, tight end Brock Bowers versus the Panthers. Now, my man Brock Bowers, 15 receptions in his first 2 games on 17 targets. There's only one other guy in the Raiders that has more targets than him, and that's Devontae Adams by 1. He has 18 targets, but he has 1 less reception than
Brock's
him.
been great.
The Panthers have allowed 11 receptions, 104 yards to tight ends so far this season. And last year, Gardner Minshew, he threw a total of 70 passes to tight ends. So he likes to utilize the tight ends.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick right there.
So, Frankie, I know you got the FanDuel thing going. So what's going on with that?
Yeah, we got some FanDuel stuff. I mean, we talked about Gardner Minshew. So he's only 7,200. And again, against the Panthers, why not? I mean, and so
that's a good pick right there.
I already have him here. That's one of my guys. Another quarterback that you might want to go with, Kirk Cousins, 7,200 against KC. They're probably going to play from behind. You look what he did last night. He actually looked pretty dang good at the end of that
crunch
game.
time, man, leading down the field.
I think they're going to be fired up after that win, and they'll just let him right down the field. Beat the Eagles, who nobody expected. There was a lot of upsets this week.
Saquon Barkley,
so
man.
7,200, you can't. That's not bad. I called it last week. Jordan Mason, 5,500. You can't beat that. We figured CMC probably wouldn't play week 2, and now he's on IR. But Carson Steele at running back, we talked about him. He's only 5,200. He's most likely going to get the start. He's going to get all the early
put in a waiver claim for him.
Yeah, you're going to get him. You got number 1 pick.
1 waiver claim.
So with Pacheco out, I mean, why not try him for 5,200 for a starting running back? You can't beat that. And they like to feed the running back. So
they do.
The FanDuel still hasn't learned or bumped up Chris Godwin. So each week he's got over 20 points. Week 1, he was only 5,600. I talked about him being my favorite pick for the week. 5,600.
He's been having a really good start to the year.
He had 27 points in week 2, and he's only 6,600 for week 3 in FanDuel. So, I mean, he's been going off since they moved him back into the slot. Okay,
right.
So why not throw him in there? I mean, that's going to be a good game anyway. So I would definitely put him in. If David Njoku plays, he's only 5,700. And he's playing against the Giants. We know how bad the Giants can be. So watch his status for a tight end. He would be a great pick if he plays. If he's not on a pitch count, just double check that. So 5,700, you can't beat that. And then for a defense, the Colts defense against Chicago. I mean, Chicago's line is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I started the Texans. They got 20 points. They sacked the guy like every other time, I felt like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like we thought Caleb was going into a good situation, which I know it's early. I'm not going to jump the gun.
They have good pieces, but their line, that was one thing we talked about before the season, if their line can hold up, and they have not held up.
Did you see the hit he took on Danielle Hunter last night? He got nailed, bro.
He got leveled. I mean, so for 3,800, the Colts defense, why not? Again, you want to get a couple discounted guys and then stack the big guys together and hope you catch lightning in a bottle. So that's all I got for Wicked Smaht Fantasy Stats.
Hey, Frankie, but now we're getting into with the lava round, baby.
Let's go.
So NFL Week 3 predictions. Let's just get into it. I didn't have a good week with the predictions going back to week two. So,
right,
I started off 12-4. This past week, your boy went 5-11, bringing my overall record to 17-15. Frankie, you were 12-4 last week as well.
Yep.
You finished last week with a 7-9 record, bringing your overall record to 19-13, brother. We're pretty close.
Yeah, 2 games up on you. You know what I mean?
Good job, bro.
Thanks, man. Nah, but there was a lot of upsets. We picked a lot of the same teams.
Yes.
We only had 2 differences last week in our picks.
Patriots, Seattle, and Titans and Jets.
Yeah, and I picked the opposites. They both won. So, I mean, we were pretty close. But, I mean, Minnesota with the upset.
Yeah.
San Fran. I mean, they manhandled San Fran. I can't even believe that.
The Saints.
Oakland
was
the
the
craziest one I've seen, right? So, Baltimore is up 10 points in the fourth quarter. Derrick Henry had gotten the ball a bunch of times throughout the game, had 80-something yards. You know how many times he ran the ball in the fourth quarter while up 10?
None.
1 time.
I had him, bro. He had 18 rushes total in the game.
Yeah, he had one. He had
right.
1 rush in the fourth quarter. This is somebody, and I forget what show I was watching. They were alluding to him being like the closer, like Mariano Rivera, and like you don't give him the ball.
No.
And run the clock out. You're up double digits.
Yeah, and they just. Dude, I don't even know what was up with that game.
It was unbelievable that they lost that game. So that was wild. I mean, and then the Saints.
Yeah,
I mean,
I said the Saints.
We both thought Dallas would win that game. They look like the best team in the NFL after that. They
47
put up 91 points
I was
in 2
say.
weeks.
I mean, the first game was against the Panthers, but the Cowboys. That's
Cowboys
a statement right
defense
there.
is great.
That's a statement right there.
They're supposed to be one of the best defenses.
Derek Carr, 33-year-old Derek Carr, he's showing that hey man, I may be getting up there in age. You guys want to say I suck? Hey, he's showing he's playing good so far, man.
6 consecutive drives in a row to open the game. They scored a touchdown.
Oh, funny stat about that.
6 in a row.
Saints have had 14 possessions this season. They've scored on every single one.
Insane. Absolutely not. 6 for 6 to start that game before they finally kicked a field goal.
Right. So the Saints are on fire right now. But Frankie, let's get into the predictions, brother.
Let's go. So we got week 3. We already talked Pats, Jets. I'm taking Jets. You're taking Pats. So why don't we go Giants versus the Browns? I'm pretty sure we're both on the Browns.
I'm taking the Browns on that one.
Yeah. We got the Bears at the Colts.
Bears at the Colts, man. That was a tough one for me, but I'm going to take the Colts there.
I have to take the Colts, too. It's at the Colts, and the Bears just haven't proven to me that they can do anything. So I'm definitely taking the Colts.
Yeah.
Texans going to the Vikings, who just upset San Fran.
I'm taking the Texans, but again, with the way the Vikings are playing, Sam Darnold looks pretty good. Who knows? I'm taking the Texans, but who knows?
Yeah, Texans are the more complete team, in my opinion. I know Justin Jefferson got rolled up on late in that game. He might be questionable too, so I don't know.
Nah, he's playing.
He'll play, but he's going to be not 100%, I feel like, if he does. So take a watch on that if you have Justin Jefferson.
I do, and I will be.
Yeah, I know. Philly at New Orleans Saints.
I'm taking the Saints.
I'm taking the Saints,
I think
too.
that was deflating last week for the Eagles. So especially Saquon Barkley dropping that pass. I'm not saying he's going to do that next week, but I just think that was... And I could see Nick Sirianni getting fired midseason.
Oh, it's crazy. I can't believe that Barkley dropped that ball.
I know.
He has the most drops in the last 2 seasons of any running back.
Yeah, he needs to work on the hands, man. Those are some brick hands, man. But yeah. So I'm taking the Saints.
Me too. Chargers at Steelers.
Taking the Steelers.
Me too. We're all everything. A lot of these are close. Denver at Tampa. We're both going to take Tampa, obviously.
Absolutely taking Tampa. Baker's going to throw for 350 in that game.
What about Green Bay going to the Titans? I know Malik Willis is looking like he's going to start again.
So I'm going to take the Packers this time, seeing how Malik Willis, we were just talking about how bad he played in his first career starts. He actually looked pretty good last week, and also he's going against a team that just traded him.
His old team. I was going to ask if you knew that, but that's good. That's why I'm taking Green Bay, too.
Yes,
I think it's a revenge kind of game.
Come on, Frank. You know I'm on top of that, bro.
And again, the Titans have been bad. Levis has made stupid
We were
decisions.
wrong about them, bro.
Well, I mean,
week 2. It's week 2.
They literally could be 2-0 right now. They outplayed the Bears.
Yes.
Levis handed off the ball to the team twice. Like it was.
Caleb Williams had under 100 passing yards in that game.
93.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, Titans played good against the Jets too.
Right, they did. But I'm taking the Packers, and I think Malik Willis is going to be a little more hungry in that game.
I know you're taking the Panthers at Vegas. I mean, Panthers going to Vegas. We're both probably going to take Vegas.
No, I'm taking the Panthers. No, I'm taking the Raiders,
I'm taking Vegas. You don't want Andy Dalton this week?
Nah, bro, I'm taking the Raiders all day, every day.
Ginger's playing.
Nah.
Oh,
Raiders.
Miami at Seattle.
Miami at Seattle. You know what? I'm going to take Seattle there, Frankie.
Me too. Without Tua, you can't trust Miami at the moment.
Absolutely.
They just signed Huntley.
Tyler Huntley from the Ravens practice squad.
Which I think is actually a smart play because I don't think this Skylar Thompson kid.
They're gonna be starting Skylar Thompson, but obviously he starts screwing up. They're gonna implement putting in Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. Here's a really good game. Who would have thought? Detroit going to the Cardinals.
So, I mean, the Cardinals looked really good last week, but I'm going to be taking the Lions in this one. I don't see them coming out flat 2 weeks in a row.
Cardinals look good in both games. They almost beat the Bills. They could have beat the Bills. This is a tough game for
I'm
me.
taking the Lions.
I have to take the Lions, too, just because I feel like they're a little bit more complete of a team. But I will say, Kyler Murray has looked like a boss. When we talked about in the preseason, you were like, I take Kyler Murray, probably bump him back. And I said, bump him up a little on that quarterback.
That's right.
I feel like Kyler Murray,
he's got something to prove.
He's been out there, and he's going to be at least a top 5 if he doesn't get hurt.
The new Call of Duty comes out in October. Just wait, and we'll see how he plays when that comes out.
Yeah. Not reading the homework in the playbook and stuff, right?
Just playing Call of Duty.
Another really good game. Baltimore going to Dallas. Both teams, bad losses this week.
So this one was a surprise one for me. I really had to dive deep into this one, and honestly, I'm taking the Ravens. I don't see them starting 0-3.
See, this is where the only one I think we're going to be different on. I'm gonna take Dallas in this game.
I'm taking the Ravens. Absolutely. I think they change up their game plan. I think that they can see if they can implement and use Derrick Henry in the fourth quarter to close out games. I mean, I'm sorry, I get it when you pass and put out your receiving back in Justice Hill, but when you get, it's just so predictable now. I mean, you see Justice Hill out there, you know they're passing. They ain't having him run through the numbers. So I'm taking the Ravens. I think they change up the game plan, and I see them, I don't think they're going to start 0-3. I don't think John Harbaugh has ever started 0-3 in his career as their head coach.
That's a tough game for me. I'm taking Dallas just because it's at home. It's like a coin flip otherwise.
I know, it is in Dallas, but I think that with all the upsets, especially last week, bro, I'm taking the Ravens.
I don't even know who's favored. I haven't looked at the lines yet. I mean, the Ravens very well could be favored after the way Dallas got manhandled.
Right.
I'm taking Dallas. You're taking Baltimore. I think that's the only one we're different on so far.
Well, the Pats and the Jets.
Oh, and the Pats and the Jets. Yeah, so we have 2. San Fran going to the Rams.
Taking the 49ers.
Me too. The Rams are just destroyed on offense. They've lost all their receivers right now.
I mean, Tyler Johnson and Demarcus Robinson are your top 2 receivers over there right now.
Yeah. And
your boy Tutu Atwell.
Yep. KC at Atlanta.
Now, Frankie, I know you and me might have a difference one here, and I'm taking Atlanta.
I like that pick.
I'm taking Atlanta.
I'm taking KC. I can't go against
that. I know, but in Atlanta, and just after that last game, like you said, they're going to be a little pumped up.
They're going to be fired up.
And like you said, they could be playing from behind, but also I just feel like after that statement win they just had against Philly, nobody expected them to win that, including me or you.
I agree. I mean, that was a great win.
I'm taking the Falcons simply for the factor of Kirk Cousins. I think it's going to be the Kirk Cousins show going forward.
I mean, it's going to bring the
weeks.
Team together. I mean, the camaraderie
That's
and everything.
What I'm saying.
I could see them. I mean, KC hasn't played great. Both games, they barely won.
They just won by 1 point.
A toenail was the difference in the Baltimore game. You know what I mean?
Literally a toenail.
And
a centimeter was the score between 26 to 25.
It was a 1-point game, and the other one on a call that the
4th and 16 pass interference.
Listen, it looked like pass interference to me. If the guy just jumped straight up for the ball, it's one thing. And he's going for the ball. Yeah, but he jumped into him, knocking him out of the way. Like, you have to jump straight up for it. So I don't know.
That is so predictable, though, man. 4th and 16, they convert. I get it on a penalty, but I'm sick of it, man, with the Chiefs. You think they got the game in the bag, and again, they just convert, and then they go down the field.
That's why I can't go against them yet.
But I'm taking the Falcons.
I love it. I hope Falcons win that one, actually.
2 Monday night games this week,
I was just going to say, we got 2. We got Jacksonville going to Buffalo. I'm pretty sure.
Taking the Bills.
Bills, yeah. And then Washington going to Cincy.
I'm taking Cincy, and I think Joe Burrow steps it up this week. He's been looking rough these first 2 weeks.
Easy. So we had 3 differences this week, so we'll see how we do.
Absolutely.
Well, that's pretty much all we have this week. Great show.
Frankie, my phone's ringing.
Who the heck is calling you now, man? We filming.
I know, man. I'm sorry.
He's always getting calls. Tell him to put it on vibrate.
Hello?
Mr. Anderson.
No, this ain't Mr. Anderson. This is Mr. K. LaCava and Mr. Frank the Bank. What's going on?
Mr. Anderson.
What is that noise, dude? I don't like that noise, bro. What? Frankie, what are these things coming down? Am I tripping? Come on, what's going on here? This reminds me of something like out of the Matrix.
Oh, yeah, okay, yep. I know what this is. This is the 25th anniversary of The Matrix. They're actually putting it back into the movie theaters this weekend.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty cool. I might have to go check. Frank, where'd you get those glasses, bro?
From Beantown to your town, stay wicked, Pissah.
Well, okay, I'm gonna have to try to find a pair of those. I mean, Mr. Morpheus over here. But from the chosen one to where you guys have fun, thanks for listening, everybody.